All right, a very good morning to you on this Wednesday. Hope that you're doing well. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Your World. My name is Winnie Lubembe, and of course, today it's all about property ownership here in the country. And of course, we'll delve deeper into land ownership because there's usually a lot of debate and conversation surrounding land ownership here in the country. And the Constitution provides that all land belongs to the people of Kenya, and the right to the use and enjoyment of land has certain caveats that are superior to the individual. And like I said, cases of people being shortchanged in land deals have continued to increase, scaring away those who wish to invest in land for either commercial or residential uses. So the question is, what exactly do you really need to know when looking to buy land here in the country? Well, of course, we have that conversation right here with us. And the question that we're asking you is, what do you prioritize when buying property? And of course, in this case, land, okay? Once again, what is it that you prioritize when buying property? Of course, we're focusing on land. Interact with us on our socials. That is at NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on Twitter. And remember to tag me at Lubembe_Winnie. And of course, the hashtag to use is Your World. And let us know what it is that you prioritize, okay? What is that you look for when you're looking for land, okay? Is it convenience? Is it accessibility? What is it, okay? Of course, we'll be reading your feedback as we continue with the conversation, but to help us understand that, whole aspect of land and property ownership in the country, we're joined by Mr. Martin Githinji, who's head of sales at AMG Realtors. So good to see you this morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
You're well?
Yeah, I'm well. Thank you for having me this morning.
And thank you really for coming by this morning because I'm pretty sure this is not a new subject to you, and especially when it comes to people conning others.
Yes, absolutely.
When it comes to land, right?
Correct.
Yes. So, of course, you'll help us really understand then better what is it that you do, what are some of the things that you need to be on the lookout for just to know if, this person is genuine or not, and whether that land has not been bought by someone else and then is being sold to you. But once again, remember what we're asking you, and that is, what do you prioritize? That is when it comes to buying property here in the country. Because again, like I said, this is not the first time that we talk about property ownership in the country. There is a lot of conversations and debates surrounding land, in who gets to own land, what is it that you look for, is it private land, is it public land, and of course all the conversations surrounding the same, because again, like we said, according to the Constitution, there's that provision where of course everybody has that right to enjoyment. But then again, there's some people, very unscrupulous people, who con people, okay, when it comes to land ownership. So then how do you know? What are the telltale signs? How what is it that you need to do when you're doing your research, okay, background research, as far as land ownership is concerned. So this is a conversation that you do not want to miss. If you have like horror stories of how maybe you were conned, or someone who has been conned when it comes to land, again, feel free to interact with us, and of course we'll be looking at that as we continue with the conversation. But let's start with first things first. Martin, AMG Realtors. I know it's you're not new, but just in case someone has never heard about AMG Realtors and what you're all about, can we start from there?
Thank you for having me this morning once again. And AMG Realtors Limited is a real estate company here in Kenya. Largely, we specialize on land investment, and we've been doing this for the last 10 years. So we are celebrating 10 years in business. Yes. And AMG Realtors, we sell what we own, basically. Okay. So there's someone who is asking, are they brokers, are they agents? No, really, we only sell what we own. And we have a very interesting story to tell you about the business that we do. Okay. Because over and above selling what we own, our prices are all inclusive of the transfer charges. And that's a topic that I would want maybe we touch on later. Because majority of the people who buy land in Kenya, they will be told a piece of land is going for 500,000. They end up paying 700,000 because of what is called or what is known as hidden charges. Outside the prices, we give a guarantee. We are the only company in this country that give a guarantee to a title deed, not just any title, but a genuine title deed, which we call a 60 days money-back guarantee on your title deed. So we've been in existence for the last 10 years, and I'm here to talk much more about land investment in this country.
Yes. And for speaking to the people out there, people have different reasons why they want to buy land, right? There's some people who want to build like a commercial business there. There's some people who want to buy land because me, I want to rent.
Correct.
I want to build a house for my family. Different reasons. But what exactly is it that people look for when they're buying land? Yeah.
Number one, I think it's important to say that land is very emotive in this country.
It really is.
And it's usually, I feel it's a conversational starter in social gatherings. When you have a piece of land, it's a conversational starter. You know, I bought an eighth, you know. I bought a quarter of an acre. I bought half an acre. But it actually feels
good to say that.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I own.
yes, because it's a sense of, it has sense of ownership and also carries a lot of feelings about the future because it feels like your future is settled and secure once you invest in land. So people buy land for different reasons, by the way, Winnie. There is someone who buys land for to pass it to generations, by the way. There is someone who buys land particularly for commercial purposes. There is someone who buys land for residential. What you've just said, I'm buying to move out of rent, what we call generational rent, because there are people who are living with rent for a long time. So they want to cut off that thing of generational rent and get an ability to build a piece of a house in a piece of land and cut off the issue of paying rent. Thirdly, there are people who buy land for investment speculation. So these are people who want to buy land today in particular strategic areas in this country where there are infrastructure in developments that are coming up so that they can cash in later when some of these developments are done. You know what I mean?
We know how
there's a place where we are told there will be an EPZ, for example, a dry port, a main road coming, a huge dam, you know what I'm saying? So there's someone who is saying, I wanna place some money somewhere, Thika Road, 10 years ago before it was done, and then once it's done, I'll be able to resell it at a higher price. There's also someone, Winnie, who is buying land because of the history. You know, you have a bad history when it comes to land ownership, when it comes to family land. So there are things that happened, and you have a wish that one day, one day you'll get to own your piece of land. And I know you understand, and the people who are watching us understand what we are talking about when it comes to history of land ownership in this country. So those are some of the reasons why people buy land in Kenya.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So then what is it that they're looking at? Because again, you deal with so many people, and they will tell you, me nataka shamba iko karibu na airport. Or others will tell you, me, I want a property where it's closer to the mall. You know, that sense of convenience, you know, that people want. And as time goes by, of course, there's so many other needs, you know, that usually come about that drive people to buy land in a certain area. But even that, there's also the question of the more time, you know, goes by, the more scarce land is, because now everybody's buying land. Residential, you know, like apartments are set up everywhere. So then the question is, what is it that one needs to do before thinking, let alone buying, right? Before thinking about owning a land somewhere, what is it that people need to know? Because we're usually told you need to do your background research, you need to do your homework before owning a property. But what exactly is it, this, you know, research, this, you know, homework that people need to do before owning land?
Thank you. So there are several things that you need to do before owning land in this country. And for a long time, traditionally, people have been looking for three things traditionally. From the past. People have been looking for three things, and that is location, number one. The second one is location, and the third one is location. Yes. So traditionally, that's what people have been looking out for, location, location, location. But over time, because of the issues, I would say, that are bedeviling the land sector, people have now expanded their thoughts in terms of conducting due diligence. That's what you're talking about, the homework that you need to do. So for a long time and over time, we have found that there are issues that are synonymous with land ownership in this country. And for that purpose, it's important to understand who owns the land that you're buying. So how do you know the owner of the land that you're buying? By asking for a copy of the title. And once you get a copy of the title, it is important and prudent for you to conduct a search at the land registry. We have different land registries scattered across the country. It's important where you're buying land, whether it's in Kitale, Kakamega, or Kiambu, it is important to get a copy from the owner. First establish the person who is selling. Is he or she really the owner? Because people purport to own the land they sell, and they are third parties. You understand what I mean? They are in-betweens. They are brokers, for example. It is important for you to ask the person who is selling the land to you, who does the land belong to? That's a very big question, because some people will purport to own and yet they don't own. There is another third party, and it's okay. It's important for you to be very clear from the onset who owns the land. And once you know, you get a copy of the title, because the owner has a title to their name. For example, if you have a piece of land and you're selling it, the title must be under Winnie's name. You know what I mean? So I need to get the title, go and do a search. In terms of the way forward, it is also important to go to the ground and see where the land is. You know what I mean? And for a long time, Kenyans usually say the best time to go and see a piece of land is when it's raining, for example, right now. So,
so that you know how bad it
so
can
that
be.
you know, different seasons, how the land looks like. You understand? Because you might buy land, and then once it starts raining, it becomes another land altogether. It becomes a water body. You know what I mean? It becomes a lake. It becomes a dam. So it's very important for you to visit the site and see actually
different seasons. Don't just
different
go once and then that's
seasons.
it.
So it's very important to go and see the ground. It's important to ask the neighbors. For example, when you visit a piece of land, just have a chit chat with the people who are surrounding the area. It doesn't hurt to actually go and ask the neighbors, what's the history of this land? Do you know anything about this land? Because the neighbors have been there for a longer time than you are, and they'll give you a lot of information pertaining
about
the land that you're buying. And of course, from there, it is important to go back to the office of the people who are selling the land and just agree about the prices. One of the key things about prices is whether the price is inclusive or not.
So the transfer
very important, because you might pay up a certain amount. I think I had introduced by saying that, and then later you pay up a lot of money,
and then you're told no, that one was just for the land in itself. Or just identifying the land.
Correct. Yes. Wakili hakukuwa hapo, transfer charges hazikuwa hapo. So it's very important to understand the nature of the pricing. Yes,
absolutely. All right, and going back to the title, and I'm sure you've seen this story, you know, on TV, where there's this person who bought land. And apparently they did not buy from the owner. So the owner comes and said, this is my land, this is my title. And then this other person who bought the piece of land says, yeah, but this is my land, I bought it, this is my title. So two different people having having title for the same piece of land. The question is, how does that happen?
Ideally, because over time, as we've said, a lot of issues have come up when it comes to land ownership in this country. And these issues that I would say bedeviling the land sector. And that usually comes when there are issues with double allocation. And of course, some of these so-called titles are gotten in not so straight ways, in cahoot with the agencies that help to transfer some of these titles, government agencies, and also greedy people in the country who are looking to fleece Kenyans their hard-earned money. So one of the best ways to be able to know the right title deed of the land that you're buying is to engage a surveyor, for example, because a surveyor is able to go to the land records, to the survey office, and get to dig in the history of the land. And in the history of the land, you'll be able to tell where the discrepancy is coming from. Along the time, over time, a surveyor is able to detect who actually owns the land, because he's able to dig deep into the records, go to Survey of Kenya, get all the records from the past, and he is able to know who is actually is the owner of the land. And one of the key things, Winnie, about some of these things that you're talking about, survey, legal, majority of the Kenyans want shortcuts. I want something.
I want to own land tomorrow.
Right now.
We don't do a due.
I mean, you wake up today, you have gotten some money, you want land, ASAP.
Yes.
So it is important to actually pause and ask yourself, what are some of the things that I can do to ensure that in future there are no issues?
Some of those things, Or I'm sure you've also had other stories where the children of the late come and say, no, our parents did not send this land, it is ours, and yet this person legally has the title deed. But then the children say, no, this is our land. It's either you go or you go. You see, so there's usually like a lot of risks, you know, when it comes to buying land. But we're saying most of these things can be avoided when you do your due diligence.
Correct.
So aside from not doing due diligence, you know, not doing like your background research, understanding, visiting the site, speaking to the people around, just get to understand, you know, the whole history about the place that you want to invest in. What are some of the challenges or mistakes that most Kenyans do when it comes to, you know, ownership? We talked about how we want people to own, people want to own land fast or property and not doing their due diligence. But what are some of these other things that people do that you look at it and you're like, clearly there's a problem?
I get what you're saying. And I think first and foremost, I usually call them red flags.
Okay.
They are usually everywhere. So I call them red flags when buying land. And it's very interesting because you'll for example, you'll go to a location and you find some discrepancies. For example, you find on the ground the map is not matching the beacons, for example. You understand what I mean? And then the owners of the land will tell you, you know what, we are going to fix that. That's a red flag to start with. Secondly, you can go to an office location for a property company and then they tell you, you know, we want to move from this location to another one.
The other location.
And then they tell you, we were at another location 2 months ago. You know, for a buyer, you might think it's normal.
You know, maybe they're expanding.
But that's a red flag.
Are they not?
They are not. I mean, why do you keep shifting from one office location? What are you hiding?
Okay.
You understand what I mean? And then once you go to the office, it's very easy for you to pick up different things when you're buying land, when you're actually walking into our office. I mean, is there an open door policy in terms of accessing the people who actually are the owners of the land? So there are usually a lot of red flags when people are buying land, but majority of the people usually ignore because their goal is to invest on the land that they want. So it's important to be very keen on those red flags. I mean, when you ask for a receipt, for example, if you pay up some money, how long does it take for the money to be receipted? Because ideally, if you go and walk into a retail store today and you buy anything,
should be able to walk out
including
with
a suite, you need to walk out of that retail store with a receipt, whether it's 2 bob or 5 bob. So why should you send money to a company or to an individual and they don't acknowledge the money that you've sent? And it's your hard-earned money, Winnie. So it's important to look out for those red flags because they, at the end of the day, once things go bad and they go wrong, you say, and I knew it. You know I felt it.
I felt there was something wrong.
There was something wrong.
We usually have that. Okay, all right. And of course, we've also had people who have bought land through schemes, right? This big company says we buy land in bulk and then we subdivide them, you know, into quarters or whatever, and then they sell to people. And then years later, I'm sure there's a scandal that, you know, was on TV and you saw it. So the people would say, but we're going through the right channels, but still something just comes up and we're like, where is our money? Why is this happening? And yet we followed all the due process. We did our due diligence. We went to the site, we saw the land, and this happens. So my question is, so then how, you know, is AMG Realtors then different from all these agencies?
Thank you, Winnie, for that question. Number one, we've been in business for the last 10 years now. And in our business for the last 10 years, as I'd mentioned, we sell what we own. We actually spend much of our time buying land and selling. So we are able to spend actually time on the ground, look out for all the red flags that I mentioned, so that when we bring you anything, you are sure and you have a guarantee that we own it, number one. We've already done the whole process in terms of subdivision, from the maps, from the beacons on the side, to value addition, to getting individual titles of the pieces of land that you're selling, so that once you come to us, you have a guarantee that, for example, we have a project called Kikuyu Breeze, for example. So we have the individual titles of those plots in our name. So not just the mother title, but we've gone ahead and gotten the individual title. So that if Winnie comes, I take her to Kikuyu, and you're able to see and say, I want to invest in plot number 5, I'll get you the individual title of plot number 5.
All right.
And all the other documents accrued to land transfer. So what they are called completion documents. So we have all the completion documents at AMG, so that you have a guarantee that we will not start telling you that, you know, wait for all the others to finish up buying,
and then we'll give
so that we can
give all
transfer
of
in
you.
bulk. we don't do that as
Okay.
AMG.
All
Once
right.
you finish up your payments, we transfer to your name immediately, and we have a guarantee of 60 days as AMG, so that once you're done with your payment, within 60 days, you get your title deed or your money back.
Okay.
Additionally to that, for a long time, our prices, since our inception, our prices are inclusive of the transfer charges. And for the people who are in the diaspora, because I know there are people
We'll
who are
talk about the
watching in the
diaspora,
diaspora,
yes.
there's something for you as AMG, and I'll be telling you what we are doing for the
Yeah.
diaspora people.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we usually have stories, especially people in the diaspora who want to invest back home, and then they will call maybe their family member, or maybe nitafutie kashamba hapa mahali, you know, and then they will be sent pictures for, and then once they see pictures, they send the money, and then when they come back to the country, there's no land.
It's a shock.
It's usually like horror stories. And of course, like we're saying, if you have or you know of a person or know, you know, about this horror story when it comes to land ownership, again, feel free to also share your experience with us. But of course, the question that we're asking you is, what do you prioritize when buying property? And of course, in this sense, land. Okay, so we're taking a break. When we come back, we'll be looking at your feedback plus many more questions as far as land ownership is concerned, especially for those ones in the diaspora who'd want to invest back home. So much to come after the break. Stay with us. This is Your World.
Enjoy early Christmas offers. Join us on our open day on 26th November 2022. Call us on 0790-771677 or SMS LAND to 21595 for more info.
In your nature, it's a woman thing. On the outside, it's a light that shines bright. Inside, it's a fire that burns with fight. It's having a dream and pursuing it, making a plan and working it. It's starting a business and owning it, big or small, local or global. We see you, your dream, your reason for being. This is at the core of what we do, raise women and build them for better. As a woman in business, let KCB fire up your female-led and made enterprise, KCB Flame. To find out more, WhatsApp 0711 087 087 or call 0711 087 000 and visit us at any KCB branch countrywide.
Hey, my name is Kevin Miner, and on the 26th of November, I will be attending the Man Cave at Summer House in Karen. It's going to be a man's affair, and I expect to see you there. There's going to be lots of great food, entertainment, socializing, networking. There's going to be a panelist that you're going to have an opportunity to listen to and get something from. So get your tickets right now at Kenya Buzz. Remember, November 26th, Summer House, Karen. See you then.
We know your flavor, and that's how you inspire us to always deliver the best quality meals made fresh with locally sourced ingredients. Galitos, bold African flavor.
Get the Galitos Hot Box and a 500 ml Coke soda at just 699 Kenya shillings.
welcome back. Glad you're still with us. Of course, the show is Your World, and today it's all about property ownership. And of course, we're taking a deeper delve into land ownership. And we're asking you, what is it that you prioritize when you want to buy or acquire property? And of course, in this sense, land. Once again, what do you prioritize when buying property? And we're talking about land today. So all social media handles are down at the bottom of your screen. NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on Twitter. Let's get to hear what some of you have to say. So Polycarp Maya says, there was a time we used to consider location so that we can have security, water, power, health centers, and schools, etc. But now we look at the prices and hoping the place will develop soonest, okay? And then Eric Brownie says proximity to social amenities, okay? And then let's get to hear what someone else says. Grace Thumbi says security, water, and electricity, all right? And of course, continue sending your feedback. We'll be sampling more as we continue with the show. Douglas Omuru anasema look for money first, priority badai. But there's that one person who said we used to look at location so that, you know, security, water, all those things combined. You know, but right now sort of like things have changed where you look at the potential, you know, of the area and you hope that that will develop soon. Is that reason enough to buy land? Because the reason why I'm asking that is because we've also seen people who've bought pieces of land in different places, maybe further away from the city, you know, mbali kabisa. And then, so they hope that it will develop, and then it never develops. And then, you know, nothing changes in that area that they've bought land to sort of shift, you know, when it comes to prices, if they would want to sell later. What is that like a risk in itself? Thinking that it will develop and then it never develops?
I would say as much as there are people who will buy because there's something that will come up. There's an airport that is coming up. In the future, as you've mentioned, by the way, every investment is a risk.
It's a risk
not
in
just,
itself.
Land investment.
That's
every
true.
single investment is a risk. And I think it's important to usually, it's important to actually go ahead and look at the blueprints in some of these development projects that you're talking about.
Right.
Because, for example, a project like Thika Road, there was a blueprint that was there in the government records that it will be done at some point. So sometimes people act on hearsay. So so people would go to a place, just invest because of hearsay, because of rumors, you know. And Kenyans, we are very good in that. You know, this area, there will be a highway. You know, people start spreading those rumors for their own selfish interest to be able to sell the land, you know what I mean? So it's important to actually go ahead and ask what are actually the blueprints that are there in place. What is the plan? I want to see a blueprint of what you're talking about. What's a NEMA? Has NEMA approved the project, for example? Because in every big project that you have in this country, some of those details are online. You can actually Google NEMA reports, blueprints from the government. For example, there is a project in where we are selling in Malindi next to a very big a solar project, and already it's up. So it's not something that is a hearsay. It's already up and operational. Already during the COP27 that was happening in Egypt, additional funding was actually given. And it is reported, I mean, from all the news outlets. So it's important to go ahead and actually dig deeper into... To understand better. So that you don't just buy because people are talking about it. It's important to dig deep and establish the records. You actually go ahead and read them, because some of the things that are recommended in some of those projects will have a direct impact to the people who are investing around. So just read for yourself, because you'll be able to establish are the property surrounding that particular project commercial in nature, residential in nature. Is there a cap? For example, if you buy in and around an airport that is coming up, there must be a cap in terms of the building, the heights of the building. So you might be buying around an airport and you have a plan of putting up a 30-story building, which is not possible. Not viable. So it's actually important to go ahead and dig deep and get more information.
Okay, because again, we've also had a lot of major setbacks when it comes to the same. People have made major losses. People are, entangled in like compensation, losses here and there. That has never happened. So just read.
Yeah, read for
You can.
yourself. Yeah.
You do all those things. Okay. Let's address then, the diaspora. People in the diaspora who'd want to invest back home, and they're thinking, so what is the best way to go about it? Because you can trust a family member. There's some who are good, and yes, they will go identify, a piece of land, go through the proper channels, and make sure that they have a title deed. But there are some who would go to someone else's property, take pictures, send it to persons in the diaspora. They send the money, they take the money, run away, and that's the end of story. And of course, this person ends up making a loss. So, what is the process like, and especially for persons in the diaspora who look forward to, owning land in the country?
Thank you very much, Winnie. By the way, AMG Routers was formed on the basis of the Kenyans in the diaspora, because the founder of AMG was for a long time in the USA, in New York, and for a long time he was not able to actually send money and invest here in Kenya. So as a company, that is one of our core value, looking at the interests of the Kenyans in the diaspora, and it's very easy and simple for our brothers and sisters who are in the diaspora, and it cuts across whether in UAE, Qatar, USA, Canada, Australia, and all those countries. We have a framework where you are able to invest with us in a very seamless way. You can actually onboard your relatives in a way that it's a seamless process. Number one, it is agreeable to say that the Kenyans in the diaspora have suffered the pain of losing money when it comes to land transaction. I don't think there is any other group that has suffered as much than the diaspora people. And because people take advantage of those people, someone is working really hard, they don't have maybe the necessary paperwork in terms of working there, so they are really working hard so that once they come back, they'll just be able to develop the plots that they own. So people take advantage that some of them are not able to come and actually supervise and see whatever they are buying. So as AMG, we've come up with a framework where you can be able to buy seamlessly through the projects, different projects that we have. For example, we have set up frameworks in the USA where you can actually pay up the amounts of the plots through a bank account that is in the USA, that is owned by AMG. We have partnered with people like DHL, courier companies that are able to actually deliver paperwork at no extra cost. So we are able to actually send you the agreement, the transfer documents to your address, wherever you are, whether you're in UK, Canada, or those other areas, to your doorstep. You sign them, and then you put them back to the courier company and to our office. And once the title is out, we are also able to ship the title to your location at no extra cost, at the same amount that you paid. So that as you work extra hard in across the world, you have a guarantee that I'll get when my title, no extra cost, genuine land, and of course, genuine title deed. At the same time, we also allow our customers to be able to send their relatives, their friends to come and see the parcels on their behalf. And once they also come to visit the country, we are able to take them and show them where their land is. For a long time, we've been able to develop and add value to the lands and projects that we are selling, so that even the person in the diaspora is able to have a peace of mind, a sense of safety and security, that the piece I bought with AMG is still safe, because we put up a perimeter wall in the properties that we are selling, and then we add amenities, security. There's someone on the gate always to check on the people who are coming to see their parcels. So we're not just buying any open field. There's actually amenities that have been put up to ensure that even if you take 20 years, we all know, the neighbors know that plot belongs to Winnie who is in Canada. You know what I mean? Or that plot belongs to so-and-so who is in the US or in Qatar. So we've put up a framework to support our brothers and sisters in the diaspora.
All right. Because again, that can be challenging, because you don't know what's happening back home. But, yes, you might be in constant communication with people back at home, but again, like I said, they might not be genuine people. Okay, so you take that stress away from the people. So then, how long does the process take? For example, I come in contact with AMG, somewhere, or maybe someone talks to me about AMG, and then do my research and get to understand who AMG is. Then, so reaching out to AMG. So by the time I reach out to the time I get my title deed, how long is that process?
Ideally, the process is very seamless to start with, because we are looking out not just to sell, but to understand the reason why you want to invest with us or in land.
All right.
Ideally, that's usually my very first question once you want to invest with me, because at the end of the day, it's really not about the money, it's about your interest, because people have different interests, and we were talking about that earlier. People have different interests when investing in land. There's someone who want to invest because there's something coming up in a certain area. There's someone who is buying land because for commercial purposes, for residential purposes. So the number one thing as a company is to establish the reason, and the reason will come from you.
So are you then able to advise in terms of, for example, if someone wants to build like a residential, apartments or whatever it is in a certain area, and then they tell you that, so are you able to advise that, no, maybe don't buy this area, let's get you land from this other area? Do you do that as well?
Actually, the reason why we ask for the reasons why you want to invest in land is for advisory purposes, so that we can be able to tailor-make the particular project according to your needs. And then from there, we move on to agreement in terms of visiting the land that we are selling to you, so that you can actually see whether what you have in mind captures what is on the ground, so that it's not just empty talk, because people will just tell you, you know what, your interest will be fulfilled in Kikuyu. And then once you go to Kikuyu or Juja, you find, nah, this is not the place I want. So once we go to the site, it's important to get the relevant documents in terms of ownership documents, which we'll provide to you. You do a due diligence in terms of background search, whether we actually own the land. Then the third thing is we actually come to the table. We get to agree about the payment plans and terms. There are people who want to buy one-off cash payment. There are people who want to buy via installments. And we usually capture the two people by having an agreement. If you want to pay via installment, there is a deposit that you pay upfront, and then the balance we agree from customer to customer, because Winnie will be able to pay up maybe 4 months, and our customer will be able to pay in 6 months, so forth, and so on. So we get to agree if you're paying or buying in cash payment, we are able to get your title deed within 60 days, I have mentioned. If you're paying via installment, now we'll do up a sales agreement where you'll be paying monthly according to your disposable incomes, your liquidity levels. And then once you're done with your payment, now we are able to transfer the same to your name. So it all depends on customer to customer, but the start process is the same. It's a equal playing field for everyone. The number one thing is to understand what is it that you're looking to buy the land for, and then we advise from that point moving forward.
Yeah, and of course, like we said, it can be like gives you that peace of mind knowing that you're safe and your money is safe, because that is a very huge investment. That one makes, and that is when it comes to property ownership in the country. So you talked about celebrating 10 years, right? And of course, there's a promotion that is running until 23rd November. Wait, is today 23rd? Yes, today is 23rd. So the promotion ends today.
It's actually 25th. 25th. But I'll be telling you about it.
Yes, okay. Let's talk about it. Let's get to understand what's going on. The 10 years. What is it that people are getting? From the promotion. From the promotion,
AMG Routers Limited is celebrating 10 years in business, 10-year anniversary. And we are giving an opportunity for our customers to celebrate with us. So it's a way of thanking our customers as we celebrate 10 years. For that reason, we have a promotion to all our customers that you're calling Bamba Shamba and AMG. So what we are doing is that we are giving what we sell to our customers. And we are doing this by giving away up to 10 acres of land. And it's a promotion that started in September, ending in November, actually 25th November. And because of the public demand, because we've been doing this since September, people have been asking, are you extending this promotion? Already we have given 3 acres to 3 people, by the way. 3 acres to 3 people.
An acre each?
An acre each. So there's a Kenyan who has won 1 full acre. Can you imagine? Worth around 2.4 million Kenya shillings. Do you know an acre makes 8 plots? Do you know that?
Yes.
So there are also 2 customers from the diaspora who have won this. And there's someone who is asking, what's the
Yeah.
nature? What are the mechanics of the promotion?
I want to win one.
I mean, is it Martin who chooses the winner? I
Yes.
mean, what
What is the
happens?
process like?
What's the process? So number one, the baseline, the most important thing is to understand that you're giving up to 10 acres. We're already given 3 acres. So we are giving 7 acres to 3 people.
Okay.
So 2 acres each to 2 people, and 1 person, Winnie, and the
Yeah.
people who are watching us will
Yeah.
go away with a 5-acre piece of land. Can you imagine that? Do you know what is
Okay.
5 acres?
That's
5
a
acres
lot.
is like 48-acre plots.
That-
KICC sits on 3 acres,
Yeah.
around 3.5
So you can
acres.
imagine.
So you have
You have 2 extra.
yes, so you can imagine that.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 acres is big.
It's-
One
it
person
really
will be
is.
walking away
With
a
5
5-acre
acres.
piece of land. And these
Yeah.
are the mechanics, by the way.
All right.
This promotion, to start with, is regulated by Betting Control and Licensing Board. So we have a license number for that. And because of the people who've been investing with us for a long time, for the last 10 years, they've been saying up to 25th is not enough. So we've gotten an extension from the BCLB up to 15th of December.
Okay.
So this is how to go
They have
about
time.
it.
All right.
So not a lot of time.
Yeah.
Just a few weeks
a few
remaining. So
weeks,
number
yeah.
one, we are giving 2 acres out of the 7 acres remaining. We are giving 2 acres this Friday. So 2
Okay.
people will walk away with 2
2
acres
acres.
each. An
Okay.
each.
I
An
mean,
acre
an acre each, yes.
Are we together?
Yes.
And then the 5 acres,
5 acres
draw
will be
will
one
be
by
on
one person.
15th in December. In between, the best thing about it is that in between the draws for the acres, we are giving away every single week on Thursday, we are giving away a shopping voucher worth 36,000.
Hey, because of
Kenyan
size in a
shillings.
Christmas, where
Every
the
single week.
holidays coming up,
Kila wiki.
the high cost of living, yeah. So that would be good as well.
Can you
know,
imagine
the thing. Yeah.
a Naivas shopping voucher
Right.
worth 36,000? You can
Okay.
imagine how much you can do with that. This is how you get to be part of this promotion. Every 50,000 you pay. In all our projects across the country, you get 1 ticket to enter into the draw, whether to win the weekly voucher or the monthly acres that we are giving. For
Okay.
example, there are 2 acres we are giving on Friday. If you make an investment in any of our projects worth 50,000.
All right.
For example, I want to give an example. We have a project in Malindi going for 150,000.
All right.
So those are 3 tickets. So if you pay 50,000 as a deposit, you already have 1 ticket. Are we together?
Yes.
For the people who want to pay pole pole.
Pole,
If you
yeah.
pay 1 off, you have how many tickets, Winnie? 3.
You have 3.
3 tickets.
So that gives you 3
more,
entries.
yeah,
And
3
your
more
chances-
entries. If,
Okay.
for example, you invest in Nanyuki, where we have a property going for 300,000, if you pay up the whole amount, you have how many tickets? 6, because every 50,000 is
50,000 you
1
pay,
ticket.
yes.
So actually, the more you buy, the more projects that you buy, the more tickets, the more entries to win these weekly vouchers, and of course, the 7 acres that are remaining. Already 3 people have won.
Yeah.
This promotion is regulated by Betting Control and Licensing Board, so it's overboard, and you have a guarantee that as you buy, it's a win-win situation. As you buy Malindi, you have an extra 1 acre. If you
Yeah.
buy a Kikuyu or Juja, you have an
You have
extra
an
1
extra
acre.
acre.
So it's
Yeah.
a win-win deal. And
Yeah.
if Winnie,
Okay.
you don't get the opportunity to win,
buy the
you still
acre
have the investment
that you have made.
Yes, which
Okay.
is growing. But the
It's
most
like a
important thing
consolation.
is that every person, every individual out there has an opportunity to win. So it's a level playing field. Every single person has an opportunity to win
All
the
right.
7 acres that are remaining, and of course the weekly vouchers that we're giving
That
away
you
every
give
single
away.
week.
All right. And so and you said like any of the other projects that you have, and one might be curious to understand. Okay, so what are some of these other projects that you have ongoing that maybe I can invest in, and you never know, I might actually walk away with an extra acre of land. Who wouldn't want that? So what are some of these other
Fantastic.
projects?
Okay, so we have different projects scattered across the country, and the baseline is that we own the properties that we are selling, so I have a guarantee that we are the owners, and you have a guarantee 2-year title. So from Malindi, I've mentioned Malindi quite
Yeah.
much. There is Nanyuki, there is Matu, there is Kikuyu, quite close, around 40 minutes from the CBD. There is Juja area, a fantastic project, very prime. We've put a wall, added amenities inside there. People have already started building there. I mean, building their houses.
Their houses, yes.
We have in Nakuru, we have in Kikope, we have in Bahati area, Nakuru Pipeline area. We have in Naivasha area, Longonot area. So we have Kangudo Road area. So we have quite a lot. Emali. So once you come to our place, we'll be able to advise you depending on your interest at the end of the day. So those are some of the projects that we have right now and many more. And once you come, we'll be able to tailor-make and advise you depending on your interest at the end of the day.
All right. So we literally have 2 minutes to end the conversation. And maybe someone is watching us and thinking, okay, so what are some of the requirements that I need to have before coming to AMG to either invest in whatever property? What are some of these requirements?
It's important to mention that one of the requirements that you need to have, of course, it's the interest, because you don't have the you don't have the interest.
Why are you investing in the first place?
You can't come to us. The interest has to be there. Number one. And the other thing, by the way, which is sort of like a disclaimer, is that there is no best time to invest in land. Because there are people who are saying, when I get to 40, or I get to 50, hapo ndio pesa nitakuwa na invest sasa nitatafuta AMG. By the way, by the time if you are 20 or 25, by the time you get to 40, the land that you want to buy will have actually tripled or quadrupled or whatever, 5 times, 2 times. So there's no best time to say that.
The best time is actually now.
It's now.
Okay.
Once you are able to make a decision that, you know what, I want to place my money on a piece of land, you come to us. We have our office location, address, our permanent location. We don't keep shifting, which is Garden Estate Road. It's called AMG Center, Roasters, around Thika Road. And once you come or you call us up, you'll be able to advise. We need your ID, Kenyan ID, for us to draft an agreement. And of course, the interest. And once you have an interest, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you have all the money up front, because at the end of the day, Winnie, it's also important to mention that more so for younger people than for young people, you may not have all the cash that you need to buy what you want, because there are also other competing interests and priorities that you have. You want to finish up your masters. I mean, there are several things that you are doing concurrently. So please come to us. Don't fear. I know there are people who, when you mention land, they run. You know, they literally run. And we understand as a company because of the past experiences that have been there. But we are telling you that AMG is here to assist you and help you become a landowner in a very seamless way. For 10 years, this has been our thing, and we're giving you a guarantee that once you come to AMG, you get value for your money, number one. The things that we've said, those are the things that we do. We don't back out on the things that we say, and you also have a guarantee that you have something additional to get right now, courtesy of Bamba Shamba na AMG.
AMG. All right, so how about let's end the conversation here, because again, Ty, we would love to talk about this over and over again, but again, time is not on our side. But thank you so much for coming by today and of course giving us all the tidbits that we need to know as far as property ownership is concerned in the country, and especially land. Like what you said, time is now. There's no best time to say, so maybe nangoja 10 years, to come. No, the time is now. As long as you have the interest, everything else will follow. So now you know what to do, all right? Thank you very much, Martin Githinji, Head of Sales at AMG Realtors. Reach out to them and see what you can do, all right? You never know. You might walk away with the 5 acres.
Correct.
Like Martin says.
Absolutely.
All right, so allow us to end the conversation here. My name is Winnie Lubembe. I'll see you tomorrow morning, same time, same place, right here on Your World. But until then, remember to stay safe, God bless, and think about making an investment in land. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.